Alright, boys and girls, we're back for another video. This one is my third installment on some of the most difficult non-calculator questions on the SAT Math. What I would recommend you do is, as I go through these questions, really I have 4 questions down below, as I go through these 4 questions, pause it, try the questions on your own, and as soon as you try, or you get stuck, unpause the video and listen to how I work through it. As always, if you have any questions on anything as I go through, please comment down below and I'll be happy to get back to you. Let's get started. This one down here is a number 20 from a non-calc. What does it say? It says that there is a circle with a radius of 1, and it's an arc question, and the length of the arc is pi over 3. So wait a second, if I have a circle, and it says that the radius is 1, okay. It then says there's an arc, I don't know what or how big it is, but the arc's length is pi over 3. What fraction of the whole circumference, again, what fraction of the whole circumference is that arc? Well, that's not that bad, because guess what? If I know that the radius is 1, what's the formula for circumference? C equals 2 pi r. What's the circumference of this circle? It's going to be 2 pi. At which point, I ask myself, wait a second, if the whole thing is 2 pi, how much of 2 pi is pi over 3? Well, you can do the division. It's pi over 3 over 2 pi. Really, how many pi over 3's go into 2 pi? I think it's 6. So it's actually going to be 1/6. But in case you don't see that right off the bat, you can always just keep change flip, right? So you have over 1, you keep this, change it to multiplication by flipping it. Really, instead of doing fraction over fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. It's pi over 3 times 1 over 2 pi. At that point, you should see that it's going to be pi pi, and I get the answer of 1/6. So that's pretty cool there. The answer is indeed 1/6. Let's keep going. Come over here for this question on the right-hand side, and this question's really, really tough. I rarely have a student that gets this right. If you want to try, pause it, and you can check back in just a few moments. So let's take a look at this question. First of all, it's screaming quadratic to me, so it's definitely a quadratic, but it's not talking about the solution. It's not asking for the answer. It's asking for what types of solutions it will have. Again, it's not asking for the answer, it's asking for the type of answers. At which point, I think of this word. The discriminant. What is the discriminant? Well, it's b squared minus 4ac, and there's 3 different cases of that. When it's greater than 0, equal to 0, or less than 0. Really, when the discriminant is greater than 0, it's 2 real solutions. When the discriminant is equal to 0, it's 1 real solution. And when the discriminant is less than 0, it's no real solutions. So going back to this question, which case is it asking about? Which case is it talking about? It's talking about the case where the discriminant is less than 0. Interesting. Okay, well, how would I do this? Well, first, with any quadratic, it should never be set equal to something. It should always be set equal to 0. So I have 2x squared minus 4x minus t equals 0. At which point, boys and girls, what is the a, the b, and the c? Well, I think that the a is here, the b is here, and the c is here. Thus, going back to our formula, b squared minus 4ac, what do we have? We have negative 4 squared minus 4 times a times c. And what is c? C is negative t. And that's going to be less than 0 like we agreed. Okay, well, at this point, what should we do? Well, at this point, we have 16 plus 8t is less than 0. So right off the bat, which answer choice makes sense here? Which one of these would make this go negative? Which values of t? I think it's going to be negative 3. But why? Well, first of all, 3 would make this go positive. 1 would make this go positive. Negative 1 would make this even go positive. Negative 3 is the only answer that actually satisfies this inequality. It would make it go negative. Right? So the answer here is A. A little bit of a long explanation there, but really the knowledge of discriminant does prove valuable it actually does show up on the SAT pretty frequently. Maybe in the next video I make, I will put another one on there just so it kind of solidifies for you. But let us keep going. Let's go to these questions down here. This is number 7. This is actually from the October 2022 exam. Really just a few months ago. It looks like 4 months ago at this point. What is it asking about? Well, it's asking about the equation of a circle. Equation of a circle. And I know that equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. At that point, well, wait a second. That don't look like that. Right? Don't look the same. But that's the whole point. The whole point of this question is to take this equation and format it into this one. But how? Well, watch along. I have x squared minus 10x plus blank plus y squared plus 6y plus blank equals 2. And why am I leaving those blank spots there? Well, I'm leaving them because I need to do something called completing the square. I'll write it for you. Complete the square. The idea behind that is, it's b over 2 squared. It's a formula that you should know for the SAT. Again, b over 2, so this is b. So what's 10 over 2 squared? Well, 10 over 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. Okay, cool. Now do it over here again. What should I add here? Same thing, b over 2, so 6 over 2 squared. Well, 6 over 2 squared is going to be 9. Cool. We're almost done. Now, at this point, what I always tell my students is, I'm not a racist, right? I don't even see color. Whatever I added to the white people, if I added 34 to the white people, what must I add to the black people? Also 34. It's only fair. I'll say it again. If I just magically added 34 to the left side, what must I also add to this right side? I must also add 34. It's only fair, unless you want to be a racist. From here, we're just about done. I'm going to erase this up a little bit so we have some space. Now, the last step here is just to factor it. Really, if we go to factor this, this becomes x minus 5 squared. This becomes y plus 3 squared. And this is 36. At the end of the day, the center of the circle is 5 comma negative 3, and the radius is 6. And we knew that back from this formula. Remember, h comma k is the center of the circle, and r is the radius. So your answer is this and this. It's 5 comma 3. I like answer choice C. So that's good there. If that helped you, please let me know. But let's come over here to the last question of the day. And the last question today looks really dang familiar. It's just a little bit harder. This is actually, I'm cheating a little bit. It's actually from a calculator section, but it's the same exact skill. You don't need a calculator at all. So this one is harder though. If you want to try, please do. But if you want to just watch along, that's fine too. So for this question, the reason that it's difficult is because there's a GCF, really a greatest common factor of 2. You need to start by pulling out a 2. You have x squared minus 3x plus blank plus y squared plus y plus blank equals 22.5. At which point, again, a calculator is useful here if you want it, but we don't need it. What do we add here to complete the square? Remember, we're trying to head into this form, if you remember. We're trying to head into this form. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So what value are we going to add? Well, b over 2 squared. Again, b over 2 squared tells us that we'll be adding 3 over 2 squared. So 9/4. What about this one? This one's going to be 1 over 2 squared. So 1/4. Okay, well, at that point, wait a second. They don't actually care about the center of the circle, so you don't even have to factor either of these. But remember, whatever you added to this side, you must add to this side. So in your calculator if you want, or just do it by hand, this is 2.25 and this is 0.25. If I just magically added 2.5 to the white people, what must I add to the black people? If I added 2.5 to the left side, what must I add to the right side? Also 2.5. Very good. So at that point, what does the radius become? It becomes r squared is 25. And when the formula says r squared, what's the actual r? It's a. So that's good there. That's a skill that shows up really frequently. In fact, like I said, it showed up just a few months ago. So if that video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions or have any other kind of SAT or ACT ideas that you want me to work through, that you need help for these next few tests, holler at me. I'd be happy to help. I'll catch you guys on the next one.